Welcome back, beautiful people of pickleball. This is Brian Green with the Pickle Pulse, and today we are going to talk 11six24 pickleball, the Hurache-X line. These paddles are legit. They come in 4 different styles or brands. They have 6-inch handles, which I think is fantastic. I've never played with one that long, and it was perfect for my two-handed backhands and actually felt really comfortable for forehand drives and everything. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. Before I get too far ahead of me, I just wanted to thank you for watching. I wanted to remind you to hit the like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And also, I'm going to do my first paddle giveaway. So behind me, you will see we have the Lux LX edition. This paddle is the ultimate in control and lightweight maneuverability. As a matter of fact, you'll go back and you'll see that I did a review on it a couple of weeks ago. I played with it for about 2 weeks. It's a fantastic paddle, and it was one that I could not put down because of the lightweight feel that it brought to the table. Also, it's a total control-oriented edgeless paddle. I'd love to give it to you, and how you'll get it is if you like this video and comment LX or Lux, and you'll also have to be a subscriber. So when I do go to choose, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that I can reach out to you, and then we will ship it right out to you. So let's talk about the Hurache-X line. I had David Greschel in a couple of weeks ago, and this is his newest endeavor. Last year he released the original Hurache paddle. Chris Olsen loved it. He won a tournament in Hawaii, promoted it, and he has been selling that paddle like hotcakes. It's a very control-oriented paddle, but he wanted to come to the table with a little different look this year. So he came up with the Hurache-X line. Now, you'll see that it comes in this beautiful blue Kevlar, and it also comes in a classic carbon fiber as well. So there are 14mm versions and 16mm versions of these paddles, and each one of them has their own distinct and unique feel. What I do like is that the 14mm are not the ultra light ones that I've experienced in the past. Both of them came in around 8 ounces. I believe the Kevlar was around 8.1, if I'm remembering correctly. So still very headlight, and a lot of fun and a lot of pop to play with in the 14mm world. So let's talk specifications of these paddles, and then we can break down a little bit about how each plays and how the carbon fiber and Kevlar feel a little different. So first, we'll do the Hurache-X Control. These paddles come in a 14mm and a 16mm version, okay? Each paddle has 4 layers in them, with 3 layers being raw T700 carbon fiber, and the top layer a Kevlar face. One of the things I really like about Kevlar is it's a much softer, more plush feel, and I definitely got it on both of these paddles. As a matter of fact, the 16mm Kevlar version of this paddle felt amazing. You could really feel the dwell time on the paddle face. It got the best spin, in my opinion, out of all of the paddles that I've tried out, all 4 of the Huraches in the line. And I'll tell you that a good friend of mine, I won't name him, has been playing with this paddle for about a month, and it is amazing to see how his game has changed from a very control-oriented drop and trying to dink and win in a traditional way to he is hitting a ton of drives from the baseline and crashing, because this paddle is soft, but it still has a decent amount of drivability from the baseline. And with the dwell time on the paddle, he's getting a ton of spin with it. And I was experiencing the same thing when I hit this paddle as well. All of the new Hurache-X line is a thermoformed foam injected Gen 2 paddle. So these are going to feel a lot like of the paddles that you've had on the market. I just find it to be very cool that you're going to get the same exact shape with 4 different variations within this line. The average weight on these paddles are anywhere from 8.0 to 8.3 ounces. out of the box, I will say that all 4 of mine fell into those parameters. The lowest being the 14 millimeter carbon fiber at 8.0, then the 14 millimeter Kevlar at 8.1, and then both of the 16 millimeter paddles came in at 8.2. So very, very close to specs. None of them felt head heavy, and I enjoy playing with all of them. The total length of the paddles are 16.5 inches, so it is an elongated paddle, but they have a nice curve at the top, which I like much more now after playing with them than the traditional long bodies that are out on the market. I just feel like they're a little bit faster in the hands, and any little edge I can get at the kitchen line is what I'm looking for out of a paddle these days. The width is a 7.5 inch, pretty traditional and standard elongated shape. The grip circumference is 4.125 inches, and the handle length is 6 inches. And this is what I think is one of the coolest things about this paddle, is that with a 6-inch handle, I can easily fit my entire hand on the paddle while the butt cap rests underneath the bottom pad of my hand. So a lot of times when I have a shorter handle, I will hold it. Matter of fact, here, I'll pop out and I'll show you. I will hold it down like this, where a lot of my hand is coming off of the actual paddle. But with these, because it's a much longer one, I can put it up higher here, and it feels so nice to have just a little extra control. And then the nice thing is when I put my second hand on to do two-handers, it really fits quite well. So the 6-inch handle was a game changer for me, and then I hadn't played with it. As a matter of fact, the Thrive was a 5.5-inch handle, and that's kind of what I've been used to. But the Hurache-X, the 6-inch handle was phenomenal, and I'm really enjoying playing with that. And I think moving forward, it's something I'm going to start looking for in all of my paddles that I take to tournaments. The swing weight on these paddles varies anywhere from 115 to 118. The 16 millimeter paddles and the heavier ones are obviously going to be on the upper echelon of that, and the 14 millimeters are going to be on the lighter side. And the twist weight is 6.15. These paddles felt really solid in resets, and you'll see some gameplay here in a minute, and they're just super fun to play on the court. Each paddle will also come with a neoprene paddle cover, which I like a lot because I carry around a lot of paddles, and it sucks when nice paddles are clinking together in your bag as you're walking along. So that's a nice feature, and something that some of the paddles that are charging $220, $250, $300 for didn't add in to their package. So the value that Hurache brings to the table is exceptional. And that's one of the things that I think you should really understand about this company, is that they are bringing top tier paddles to the market, and they're not asking you to spend $250 for these paddles. They're going to play as good as any of those Gen 2 or Gen 2 Plus paddles that are out there. And you have a choice of which swing weight do you want to go with. Do you want to go lighter with a 14 millimeter, or do you want to go a little bit heavier, a little bit more dwell time with the 16 millimeter? So let's talk about each paddle. I'll start with the 16 millimeter paddles. You'll see that the Kevlar has a bluish face, which I really like. It's a very good looking paddle. And then you'll have your traditional carbon fiber with the black carbon fiber face. Now, the carbon fiber ones are going to be called the Control Plus, while the Kevlar are going to be called the Control. And the reason that he did that is that with the Control Plus, it's a control-based paddle plus pop. So just remember, Control Plus means plus pop. So any of the carbon fiber paddles are going to be a little bit hotter than the Kevlar paddles out there, which he calls his control paddles. And I will say that I agree with it wholeheartedly, 100%, that the plushness of the Kevlar on the 14 and 16 millimeter felt phenomenal. And the spin rates on these are going to be in the top tier. I would say top 70 to 90%. So you're getting lots of RPMs over 2000, and the ball is dipping over the net because of the dwell time on the face. Now on the Control Plus, you're getting a tad bit more pop. And what I like about those is that if you're a person that still wants to have that plush feeling of a 16 millimeter paddle, but at the kitchen line, you want just a little more pop than some of the other paddles that you would get out there, and like a 16 millimeter, and I'm thinking like a Diadem Warrior, a Diadem Edge. I know both of those were really plush 16 millimeters. And this one felt like it had 20 to 30% more power than those paddles had. It felt to me a lot more like the Thrive Azul that I was playing with in the pop department, but a little more plush again because it's that 16 millimeter carbon fiber. So now let's talk about 14 millimeter versions of both of these paddles. Again, the Kevlar, blue face, gorgeous, Control Plus, carbon fiber, black. This is going to be the poppiest of all four of the paddles. So let's start with this particular one, in that the Control Plus and 14 millimeter has been hands down my favorite paddle to play with over the past 2 weeks. I've been using and interchanging all of them, but I keep coming back to this paddle over and over and over again because I feel super comfortable with my drops and my resets. I haven't put any weight on these yet, and I do believe that if I put a little bit of the tungsten or lead tape at the 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, maybe like 1.5 grams or 2 grams on each side, not a ton. The plow through would be much better on this paddle, which is something I'm going to do moving towards the future, because I'm going to keep playing with it. It's a good paddle. And what I really loved is that this paddle to me felt like it had the pop of a Gen 2 Plus paddle. What does that mean? So most of the Gen 2s out there, if I put the pop at a 7 out of 10, I would put this one at like a 8.5 out of 10. And then you'd have your gearbox and your band paddles that are out there that I would say 10 out of 10. So I'm hitting good drops with it. I'm able to hit excellent drives from the back, and the ball is definitely dipping because the spin on all of these paddles are going to be exceptional, as I said earlier. So I can hit drives, I can hit drops. I want to get to the kitchen level because I'm playing at an almost 5.0 level. And when I'm at the kitchen, what do you need? You need counter ability, right? And so I have chose the 14 millimeter carbon fiber, the Control Plus, as my weapon of choice, simply because the counter ability is there. The pop off the paddle gets it back quickly. It's light in your hands, and it still has the control in the areas that you need it. I've had a ton of fun playing with the 14 millimeter Control Plus. Now on the other side, the 14 millimeter Control Kevlar paddle felt a little more plush to me. It actually felt closer to those Gen 2s. So if I put this at like a 8.5 out of 10 in the pop category, I would put this at like a 7.5 out of 10. It felt very similar in pop to my Thrive Azul that I loved and felt. It's the only deterrent to this is it's an 8.1 ounce, which isn't a heavy paddle at all. And I know some of you guys are probably laughing at me because you play with something much heavier, but I like a lighter paddle. And so just that 1 ounce I could feel in my hand, and it caused me to want to go to the carbon fiber just a little more. But with the Kevlar, you're feeling the plushness of the face again. So it really comes down to what you're looking for when you're buying a paddle. And that is the key always to getting what you like, is having an understanding of what you're doing in your game. And then from there, being able to buy the weapon that is going to enhance your abilities best until you improve upon the things that you're looking to improve upon. So if you're a person that is like I am, right? I am going to drive 80% of my third shots, and I am then going to drop the fifth. Most likely, I might hit another drive if I'm really feeling it that day, but I've found at higher levels it doesn't work very well. I digress. So if you're driving first and dropping second, I think that the 14 millimeters are an excellent option for you, simply because it's going to give you that extra little push from the baseline that you would like and want, so that your drives aren't slow and people are hitting them harder back at you. The other thing that I absolutely love about these paddles is the maneuverability. They are not head heavy whatsoever. And a matter of fact, like I said, if you put a little tungsten tape, I really think that it could speed up the paddle even more at the kitchen line. And with the ability to have fast hands, to hit solid drives, but still be able to reset and not pop everything up, I think this is a great all-around or all-court paddle. The other cool thing is that these are exceptional value paddles. The Hurache-X Control, the Kevlar version, is $149.99. and the Hurache-X Control Plus. Remember, Control Plus means plus pop. So that is your carbon fiber, a little extra pop on those versus the original Control. So I guess a good rule of thumb is if you want a more plush feel to your paddle, Kevlar is going to be an excellent way to go. If you want a little more pop, a little less dwell, the carbon fiber feels a little better to that person. But the carbon fiber comes in at $139.99. And with my code PULSE10, which I'll put on the screen right here, you can save 10% off of your order, and that'll bring it down to around $120 or so. So think about this. You have paddles on the market that are $220, $240, $280. And you can invest in that paddle and it'll last you 3 to 5 months if you're playing a lot like I am, 3 to 5 days a week, and you're hitting the ball pretty hard, because those paddles are going to deteriorate. The other thing about some of those super expensive paddles is the more they deteriorate, the more they change. What I've noticed is you can get a paddle at around $120, $130 that will compete with those top tier paddles. They're going to wear out in about the same time. Let's be honest, most paddles, if you're playing a ton, are going to last you 3, 4, maybe 5 months. But you can buy 2 of them for the same price as one here. And I think that's where Hurache has the market right now, is they are coming in a little below most of their competitors out there, and they're creating top tier fantastic paddles. I would recommend these to any of my friends. And the thing that I would say about the 16 millimeters, since I haven't really covered that too much, is these are going to be your classic Gen 2 paddles. Again, Kevlar, softer feel, carbon fiber, a little bit more plush, but at the 16 millimeter, you're going to really feel the dwell of the ball, and you're also going to be able to control your shots and place them where you want. So depending on the type of player you are, you have 4 paddles to choose from here, all of which perform at an exceptionally high level. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that paddle review. 11six24.com, again, is where you can find these guys. And if you're open to a new paddle, or you just need to change it up a little bit, which I find really does help your game, is just change the paddle if things aren't going well. Again, it's not the paddle that's going to make you better, but sometimes just a small change can help up here. And I think that's what it does for me. What this company does exceptionally well is they're bringing a great value to the table for you, and they're giving you 4 different paddles to choose from to suit your playing style. If you've enjoyed this content, take a moment to like and subscribe. Also, comment below if you want the LX. I look forward to sending that out to one of my listeners. And until next time, see you on the courts.